say, I've come to Tällberg with a few ideas in mind, and my ideas were about reflection and action. How much of reflection, how much of action, what is the role of reflection versus action, you know, and this type of thinking, this type of things. And yes, I mean, sort of the key words that I have in mind now when I think of Tällberg is a few things that came, I mean, across the conversations. I found creates fertile grounds, creating fertile grounds. This resonates very much with something we do at the International Risk Governance Council. I'll come later to that. It stimulates a more acute perception. Perception, I think, is a very, very true word when I think of Tällberg. Questions, of course, enables me to look at things from another angle, of course, yes. I mean, I probably open doors to someone like you, but to me it broadens minds, it creates conditions and context for renewing my minds, makes sense of things, and this is something I feel very true here. You know, this concept of sense making, making sense of things that you don't understand, provides the context in which you can start to understand. I mean, not fully understand, but start to understand connections that you had not thought of before. And this is obviously a very good place here. So it's among all these things, there is something that matters to me. It gives confidence in yourself, you know. And I think providing confidence to one person, and not me, I mean everybody, is something you need. If you don't have that, don't try to. It's not worth trying anything, you know. You need to first to believe that you can do things. You can do things. And so it's about the self and the community, and how much of self and how much of the community, and yes. Now this, as I said, it resonates with some of my work at the International Risk Governance Council, so short called IRGC. Our mission in this private foundation is to try to improve risk governance, and so therefore what we do is we develop concepts, frameworks, and other methods for trying to understand better the type of risks that surrounds us, especially the type of global, systemic, emerging, ignored, neglected risks. You know, all these risks that basically are owned by no one. And if a risk is owned by no one, if there is no risk ownership, there's no way someone will really take charge, you know. And this is this concept that of risk ownership that makes that we must endorse responsibilities. We must make ourselves accountable for doing things. And of course, Tällberg is a very good place to think of that. Yeah. It took me some time to really understand what it meant, and this is something that was developed by academic people some years ago. And at first sight, I thought, wow, what is this again? And now I tend to understand that you need that in order to try to understand what's going on in the world. You know, all these systemic complexities, interdependencies, and things that are anyway so complicated, so that there's no way you will be able to deal with that with our current frameworks and with our current mindsets. Now, with regards to science, technology, policy, this is something that I didn't know actually that Tällberg was addressing these questions, at least not before coming here. And I had, to be honest, a very quick look at the program before. So, yes, there is a challenge. The challenge consists of we have to make society, innovation, and risk management, I mean, for my business, work together. You know, we have, on the one hand, we have technological innovation, and I'm a true believer in technological innovation if it's accompanied by social innovation. So you have to, for work, that technological innovation and social innovation work well together. You know, this includes incentives. This includes certainly some constraints, but okay, we have to progress. We have to move ahead. The second component is let's call it risk governance, risk management, regulation, constraints. Of course, there are. If you take opportunities, if you try to develop new things, you will certainly generate certain new risks that you have to care for. You know, you have to look for. So risk regulation, to make it very, very narrow, is needed. You know, and you also need to regulate innovation. This is a bit contradictory to what I said before, but I mean, you need to have both. And the third element is public acceptance. Nothing will work if the public does not accept it. what I mean by the public can be citizens, it can be consumers, it can be civil society. I mean, it's individuals, you know. And they have to accept it, they have to endorse, they have to embark on the journey that innovation leads us to. So, and to me, the risk governance, this is what it is, you know, and I think this is also something that is developed in Tällberg. There are technologies that are easily accepted. Mobile phone, I think, is a technology that people have accepted right away, you know, because it's clear, you know what you get, you know what you can do with it, you are excited with what you can do with it, you know, and it changes your life. Okay. Going further, there are some technologies which are more uncertain, you know, which are more stressful, you know, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, genetic engineering, all these neuroscience, interconnection of neurosciences. And here people are less prepared to accept that because it puts them in the unknown, you know. And there is no way we can accept things if we're not able to project ourselves, you know, to figure out how we will be in that new environment, you know. And that's the thing we need to work on, you know. How could we, this is a philosophical question, how could we put ourselves in a different context than the one we are living now and see backwards, you know. See what should have been done to either go to this context or not, if we don't like this context. So this is we used to talk about the power of transformative technologies, but we should, I think, rather talk of the challenge of transformative technologies, that the world they can bring in is not necessarily a world that is desirable, you know. But there is no way we are not equipped, you know, to think of that unless we are put in a situation where we live in that world. Well, the film from Nora yesterday was really great. I mean, I never took the time to really explore what Peterson was doing, you know, had done or had been doing. It's fascinating. Sometimes I really struggle to make links with real life, you know. That's the point, you know. And I'm still struggling with that, but at least I'm on the journey, you know, so it's good, I think. I'm on the way I'm trying to progress. And we are very lucky, you know, because we are probably a very, very small minority in the world, you know. We must acknowledge that the huge majority in the world either don't care about these sort of issues or don't have the capacity to care for this type of issues, don't have the knowledge, of course, don't have the capacity, don't even have the human resources to think of that. So, I mean, I don't want to call this a problem, but what can a minority do? I mean, we are very fortunate to be able to think of that, to take time on these sort of issues, but coming back to my first question, between reflection and action, what comes next, you know? And I'm just afraid, a little bit afraid, I should say, not too much, but that when I come back home, I say, okay, that was nice, but what am I going to do now? What I know is that there are other people, you know, who think similar things to me. But does it mean that we are going to do something together? You know, this morning in the session, I said the best thing we could have now is a good crisis, you know, something that makes that we have to do work. You know, yes, I don't know what's the expression for that.
Roll up your sleeves.
Yes, exactly, yes. Because this is we need that to really focus the energies, and focus the energies in such a way that it is constructive, you know, and not destructive or not just wishful thinking, or that's the stress. Yeah.